Open your book to page 139. This lesson is on graphing trigonometric functions, especially on sine and cosine functions. So for sine and cosine, let's go and look at the general form for the sine and cosine function. So the function with everything that would looks like this. So y equal to k plus a sine of bx plus c. Okay, so this is like the one with everything. Same thing for cosine would be k plus a times cosine bx plus c. Okay, so k, a, b, and c are just numbers, okay, at various locations. So when you start to do this, right, what you want to do, you want to get all your information organized. So what you want to do is you need to figure out what a is equal to, b is equal to, c equal to, and you have to write down your k. And then from b, you have to figure out the period. From the c, you have to figure out the shift. Okay? And so you want to get these things ready, and from this information, you're going to do the graphing. So for every problem, make sure you get your a, b, c, then you get your k, p, and s. Okay? And after that, actually for sine and cosine, you need to get something called q. Again, we're going to cover each of these. Okay? So let's go over some examples of what to do with all these. Okay. So let's go to example 1. So let's go to page 141, example 1. Now example 1, it says compare a graph of y equal to 1/3 sine x and y equal to -3 sine x with a graph of y equal to sine x. And we're going to graph each one individually so you can compare. We're not going to graph them together, okay? Because I need to write all the information. So I'm going to graph y equal to sine of x. So y equal to sine x. So again, first, let's go and get all the information, right? So you have a, b, c, k, p, and shift, right? So first, a is the number in front right over here. So in this case, a equal to 1. B is the number before the variable is, so b equal to 1. C is the number after the variable, so plus 0, so this equal to 0. Okay. And k is this part of right over here. So k is the number that you add on to that. So in this case, k equal to 0. Okay. Now to figure out the period, okay, what you want to do is period equal to 2 pi over b. So in this case, period equal to 2 pi. The shift is equal to negative c over b, but because it's equal to 0, so shift equal to 0. Okay? So right now, we're not going to worry about the shift. We're not going to worry about the k. Okay? We're just going to worry about the period and the a. So with all the information, this is what you're going to graph. Okay? And by the way, you also need to get a q. Q means quarter, means 1/4. So you times it by 1/4, you're going to get pi over 2. Okay? Now, the quarter point is your major point. And we already did this already. Okay? So next what you want to do is, this is a sine function, right? So sine function normally starts over here. So sine function starts, usually starts right over here. Okay, so usually that's where you start. So this point is actually this point and this point. This is like, think about your coordinates. This would be like your y, and this is like your x. Okay? So that's your starting point. So from here, you can see that this point would be your 0, 0, right? So everything's all good. So these are your shifts. This is the horizontal shifts. These are the vertical shift. So right now we're not doing any shift yet. So whatever you have, that's your 0, 0. Okay? So your next point, so again you get your graph. So once you know that this point is 0, 0, that means the axis will go through here. Okay? Then you have to get your amplitude, right? Amplitude is 1, so that's your 1, and it's your -1, right? The next information is you want to use this right over here, the quarter point. Okay? The quarter point is how much each division worth. So quarter point is pi over 2. So that means this is pi over 2. 2 pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, and 4 pi over 2. Okay, again, so again, the quarter point is how much it's worth. So each of the division, think about your graph paper. This is like each of those, like square is equal to pi over 2. And again, you can simplify this later on. So again, 1 pi over 2, 2 pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, 4 pi over 2. And if you go backward, you get negative pi over 2, negative 2 pi over 2, and over here would be negative 3 pi over 2, over here would be negative 4 pi over 2. Again, you don't have to worry about simplifying. You can if you want to. So if you use pencil, then you can erase and simplify. So that's how you do your graph. Okay? So now let's go to the next one. So next one, they want you to graph y equal to 1/3 sine x. Okay. So over here, your a is equal to 1/3, and b equal to 1. So you don't have to worry about k and a c because we're not doing that yet. So you can just ignore that for now. So below the b, you need to get p. So p equal to 2 pi over b. So b equal to the p equal to 2 pi. So you can do all this over here. And again, you have to get a quarter point or the quarter wave. So it would be divided by 4 or times by 1/4. You get pi over 2. Right? Again, q means quarter. Quarter means what? 1/4. So you times this by 1/4, you get that. So this is how much each division or every square is worth. Okay? So again, right over here, you start at, because there's no shift, there's no c, so there's no shift, and there's no k, so you can start right over here. Okay, we're going to cover more of that later on. Okay? So only thing different is your amplitude is 1/3. So it'd be 1/3, negative 1/3, and again, quarter point is pi over 2, so you can just pi over 2, 2 pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, and 4 pi over 2. Okay? And if you follow the boundary, right, it tells you should go from 0 to 2 pi, so that means you don't do any of these. Okay? So you can erase this part over here. It tells you to go from 0 to 2 pi, and that's it. Okay? So again, it's very simple. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Okay, it tells you to graph y equal to negative 3. So y equal to negative 3 sine of x. Okay, so again, a, what is a? It's not negative 3. Remember, a is how much it deviates from the center line. So a is absolute value. So a equal to 3. So on the test, you got to remember, don't put a negative 3. Because some of you guarantee, some of you are going to forget and going to put negative number for the amplitude. Okay, amplitude is the absolute value, so it's always positive. So again, b equal to 1. So period equal to 2 pi, and q equal to pi over 2. So it's going to be the same thing. Now you have to be careful now. Okay, because the coefficient is negative 3, so everything got flipped upside down. So instead of going up, it got flipped upside down. So now your graph is no longer starts right over here. Your graph is going to be end up right over here now because of the negative. The negative flip everything upside down. So instead of going up, right? Instead of going up, the graph has to go down now. So you have to start over here. So that's what the negative will do. It flip the graph upside down. Again, so this graph will flip upside down, and then over here, again, this amplitude will be 3, and this would be negative 3, and again, the q is how much each of this worth. Okay, so it's pi over 2. So this would be pi over 2, 2 pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, 4 pi over 2, and that's it. That's your graph. Okay, and again, let's go and do the match problem 1. So let's go to match problem 1. So match problem 1. So it tells you that you want to graph you want to graph y equal to cosine x, and you want to graph y equal to 1/2 cosine x, and you want to graph y equal to negative 2 cosine x. Okay. Again, so that's your basic graph, right? We already did that before, right? The cosine, again, a equal to 1, b equal to 1, period equal to 2 pi over v, so it'd be 2 pi, and the quarter is 1/4 of that, is pi over 2. For the cosine, it starts right over here. Okay? And the amplitude is 1, so this is 1. And over here, this is -1. Now I like to put 1 on this side because if you put on this side, it looks like it's -1. So I want to put on this side so there's no, confusion. Okay? Again, quarter wave is pi over 2. That means each of these is pi over 2. So this is pi over 2, 2 pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, 4 pi over 2. And that's your graph, and you're done. Okay? Again, so once you understand how to graph this, how to use information, graphing is very easy. Okay? Now let's go and do this one here. So in this case, A equal to 1/2, B, okay, B equal to 1. So period equal to 2 pi over B. So it'd be 2 pi. And quarter wave is 1/4, so it'd be pi over 2. So again, so this starts right over here. And the amplitude is 1/2. So it'd be 1/2 right over here. So this would be -1/2. And again, each of these is a quarter, right? And this is going to be very important there when you're doing the shift. Right now it does not make that much difference yet. So again, pi over 2, 2 pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, 4 pi over 2. Okay, and that's it. Okay, now when you're doing this one, so A equal to 2, B is equal to 1, and so again, period equal to 2 pi, and the quarter wave or quarter point is pi over 2. Now you have to be careful now. Again, normally you start over here, right? But because of negative, it flips everything upside down. So instead of starting on the top, it will start on the bottom now. Okay, so you will start right over here instead. Okay? So you got to remember that. Okay? And after that, again, over here, the A is 2. And so you have 2, -2. Again, quarter point is pi over 2. So pi over 2. 2 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2, 4 pi over 2, and that's it. Okay. Again, very straightforward, very simple, not difficult. Okay. Okay. Now let's go and continue. Okay. Let's go to example 2. Now I'm going to go to example 3 already. Okay. So let's go to page 143. Let's go to example 3. Okay, so it says you want to do the equation y equal to 3 cosine of 2x. Okay, and then you want to name the amplitude and the period. So again, you're going to get A equal to 3, B equal to 2. So now it's not equal to 1 now. Okay, so period equal to 2 pi over B, right? 2 pi over B. So period equal to pi. So now your quarter point is going to equal to pi over 4. Okay. So now let's go and graph. So normally your cosine starts over here, right? Now since I'm writing over here, I don't want to start over here. I want to start over here. So again, cosine starts up here. So amplitude equal to 3. So we name that. So this is going to be 3, and this would be -3. And now each quarter point is pi over 4. So this would be pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, and 4 pi over 4. So that's one period. Right? Again, period is pi. So that's one period right over here, and that's it. Okay. So now you see why it's so important to figure out your Q, right? The Q tells you how much each one worth. So this is pi over 4, so you just go 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 4 pi over 4. And you can simplify into pi later on. Okay? But if you leave it, that's fine. Now let's go and do the match problem 3. So you want to do y is equal to 1/3 sine of x over 2. Okay, and I'm going to do it down here. So in this case, A equal to 1/3, and B equal to 1/2, and so period equal to 2 pi over B, so period equal to 4 pi. Right, complex fraction, you multiply by 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, right? So period equal to 4 pi, so Q equal to pi. And this is sine, and it's positive, so it's going to go this way. So amplitude is 1/3, so that means the height is 1/3, right? And this is negative 1/3, and the Q is pi, so this will be pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, and 4 pi. Okay, so that's one period. So you kind of watch what they want you to do. They want you to go from negative 2 pi to 6 pi. Okay, so you go 5 pi, 6 pi, and you want to go this way, go negative 2 pi, so negative pi, negative 2 pi. Over here is 0, right? And let's go back up to this one. They want you to go from negative pi to 2 pi. So you have to keep going, so 0, so we run out of space. So that's why you kind of have to watch. See, I wrote these things over here, so that's why I start over here. But you should start over here. So you kind of have to pay attention to the boundary. So negative pi, so you go negative pi over 4, negative 2 pi over 4, negative 3 pi over 4, negative 4 pi over 4. On this side, you have to keep going. I run out of space now. So 5 pi over 4, 6 pi over 4, 7 pi over 4, and next one would be 8 pi over 4. Okay, so that's what you need to do. Okay, let's go to example 4. Okay, example 4, you have y equal to negative 1/2 sine of pi x over 2. Okay, so A equal to 1/2, B equal to pi over 2. So pi is everything except for the x. So B equal to pi over 2. So now the period equal to 2 pi over B. So you multiply by common denominator, right? I can complex fraction. So there's a bit of review. So P equal to 4 pi over pi. Right? This cancels out. So period equal to 4. That means Q equal to 1. And this is sine. So sine normally starts right over here. Right? But it's negative. So instead of go up, you have to go down. So I'm going to start right over here. Because again, you have to watch the negative. Okay. And so you can erase this over here. Again, normally sine starts up here, but because it's negative, so everything got flipped upside down. So instead of going up, you have to go down. So you can start over here or over here. Either way, they're the same. Okay, then you mark your amplitude. So it's be 1/2 here, negative 1/2. Okay, now your quarter point is 1. So that means this is 1, this is 2, 3, and how far do we need to go? From negative 5 to 5. So 4, 5. So this would be 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, right over here. And that's it. So that's how you do the graph. Okay? So make sure you understand what's going on and you just go and follow through. So again, once you understand, it's very simple. Okay? So make sure you get this information, it will help you. Okay? So let's go and do some practice.